First guy I want to talk about because I like talking about him, Jaden Nixon on UCF. All right, and you're like, why do I know that name? He was one of the running backs at Western Michigan last year. They had two very effective running backs going into the season. It was very obvious to a lot of people. Oh, Jalen Buckley's going to be the guy. He had an all max season, had came off 1,000 yards rushing, whatever. Oh yeah. Western Michigan had a stellar offensive line last year. Stellar. We're talking about NFL talent there. All right, and you get a guy like Jaden Nixon getting opportunities in that backfield, we are talking about just one of the most explosive running backs in college football last year. All right. Let me give you an example right here. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry. Let me give you the names of guys that also averaged 6.4 yards or more with 130 carries. All right. It's Eli Sanders for New Mexico, who transferred to USC. Probably going to go to the NFL if he wins that job. They got another JUCO guy over there at UC that's pretty good. Ashton Genty, we know him. Isaac Brown, we know him as the best true freshman running back in college football last year. Jeremiah Love is already getting Heisman hype. RJ Harvey, all right, NFL guy. DJ Giddens, NFL guy. Nick Singleton will be an NFL guy for Penn State. Caleb Johnson is an NFL guy, drafted in the third round. And then Jaden Nixon. That is the kind of company that Jaden Nixon is in when we're talking about his efficiency carrying the football. Granted, he was running behind an offensive line that was exceedingly more talented than probably the defensive line talent that he was going to play week to week over there at Western Michigan. But he is good, right? UCF brought him in. They got a new coach over there, Scott Frost. In a new old coach, right? Miles Montgomery is a solid running back there. He got carries, in that backfield. He was a former transfer from Cincinnati. He could definitely, they could split carries for sure. But that's what Jaden Nixon did at Western Michigan, and he still had 900 yards. So this dude is going to be sick, and he's going to, in my opinion, shoot up draft boards, right? In this process, I think people are going to get their hands on this film and be like, oh my gosh, he's actually explosive. Now, UCF is losing a particularly really good offensive line from last year, but they still have some guys on that team. Even though you're replacing four guys, you got some decent transfers in there that I think are going to be pretty solid, and some guys that you've been waiting to get some reps. So I think Jaden Nixon is a stud. I think he will continue to be a stud. I think he's a guy that you need to know. All right, heading into this 2025 season.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that season too, you said he was splitting carries, but when Western Michigan was like at the top of the standings in the MAC last year, when they won 5 of 6 games in the 6 game stretch, it was Jaden Nixon who was getting it done. You talked about 5 games having over 100 yards in that stretch, so 5 of 6 games over 100 yard stretch, and then 10 touchdowns in those 6 games. It was highly efficient. You're talking about explosive runs, longs in those games of 92, 54, 57, 43, like big time explosive runs, things that Scott Frost and this new offense will be desperate for, I think, in terms of what they can do and when they can be at their best. So who is Jaden Nixon? If you don't remember him, he was at Oklahoma State. You mentioned that. And the reason why it didn't quite work out there, he started off pretty fine. He was like kind of a all honorable mention freshman, in the Big 12 there, but he was running behind a guy named Ollie Gordon. And that kind of
Whoops.
just, he kind of broke out. And that's what happens. So he ends up at Western Michigan, finds his way back to the Big 12 via UCF, like you said. Going to be excited to talk about him and watch him. He's a guy that's definitely interesting. Like you said, not the biggest guy, but 5'10", 185. So doesn't need 25, 30 carries a game. But when he does get those 15 touches a game, you got to find that for him because he will be effective for you. It'll be a nice change of pace no matter what in that Scott Frost offense.